So you'll get a recording. So if you want to read this further, that would be fine. All right. So who am I? My name is David Kushner. I've been trading the markets for over 25 plus years. I trade stocks, options, futures, and Forex. My background was I had an automotive parts business that I started when I was 18 years old. I had that business for 28 years before I sold it in 2005. And ever since then, I've been a full-time trader. So like most of you, you probably have a whole shelf full of indicators, trading systems that came with a lot of empty promises of helping you become more profitable and more consistent trader. So I know that I have probably 3 or 4 hard drives full of stuff that is totally useless. And I was in a webinar that Mark Sachs did, and I saw the money flow tracker system. And I quickly realized that this methodology isn't based around the same old indicators that everybody else teaches, but more based on mathematical modeling and triple and quadruple screen analysis. And I'll explain what that is in a little bit. Now we only trade with institutional money flow. When I talk about order flow or money flow from this point on, it's only institutional money flow. It's made me much more profitable and much more consistent trader. And now I'm running over a 70% win-loss rate. So the agenda for this webinar is how the money flow tracker software works, the high probability setups, the unbreakable rules to follow, how I trade breakouts and sidestep losing trades, the money flow tracker auto trader, and how to pass the evaluations to become a funded trader. So those who stay to the end of this webinar, runs about 45 minutes or so, we have a very special discount, unbelievable, plus additional software for quick action bonuses. So why are you here? Well, from the poll, I take it a lot of you guys are not consistent. You're not getting the results you want. And look at it this way. I know you're not here to waste time, and neither am I. I know you're not here to waste money, neither am I. And you're sick of buyer's remorse. Okay, so what do you want? You want me to show you a solution, right? You want to hit consistent winning trades and a solid performance that repeats daily. Sure, Roy, you can trade London session. Sometimes I get up and trade the London session. Sometimes the London sessions could be better than the New York session. All right. So what do you need to create trading success? Software to provide you with the competitive edge over all other traders. And that edge needs to track the direction of money flow, institutional money flow or order flow. The third thing is etched in stone rules to follow, and this will eliminate discretion. And the fourth thing is patience. And I think this is the most important thing. And the thing that most traders lack is patience to let the trade set up. So I'm going to break down the system to you in detail, but let me show you a few trades that we've taken. Right? Here's an options trade on AMC for 139%. Here's another one on GME for 188%. You can swing trade with this. You can day trade with it. You could longer term trade with it. Here's a trade I took on 30-year bonds. That's 41 ticks at 31.25 a tick. It's $1,281. I couldn't hold it. I wanted to hold this trade overnight, but I trade with prop firm, so you can't do that. Otherwise, that would have been probably another 40 or 50 ticks. It closed at 30.40. It went up to 50 ticks. All right. Here's 56 ticks on the euro currency. The euro currency is best traded in the London session, Roy. All right. So look, I can show you tons and tons of trades, but is that going to help you? No. And I'm here to help you. So it's likely you have a problem making money. Why? Because you don't have the proper tools to efficiently manage your trades. You overtrade, you revenge trade, you make impulsive decisions. This is a big, big problem that most traders have. All right. You lack consistency. You trade with indicators that lag price, and you lack a mathematical proven trade methodology. And all these things lead to blowing trading accounts, right? So my commitment to you is to bring this to an end. So why do they say that 95 to 98% of traders go broke? Using the following: price action, MACD, Elliott wave, divergence, GAN, Fibonacci, price patterns. You know, none of these things have any future predictive properties. And I am not, and I'm going to repeat this, I am not saying that the money flow tracker can predict the future. Because first of all, nothing can predict the future. And second of all, I'm not going to say something that's not true. I don't do that. I use the software. I've been using this software for the last 4.5 years. So Mark Sachs had 35 years plus in the study of field of applied mathematics. He was a professor at Jefferson University, and after 8 long years, he engineered the software system and trade methodology that can improve your trade performance, called the Money Flow Tracker. And we have over 500 traders that we trade shoulder to shoulder with every day between our 3 trade rooms. So before we get started, I'd like to share my trade journal. Now, I use an online trade journal. Where is it? Oh, that's not it. You know what? I'll just open up a new window. Come on. I'll put it here. All right. So this is my version. All right. So I use this trade journal. It's an online trade journal. It's called Edgewonk. Every day I do my performance report, and I didn't do today's. So every day I click here. This is my I know it's on my desktop, sorry. And this is today's trades from today. I click here and I upload my trades into the program. And this uploads the entry date. It's everything for the trade. It actually even puts, where is it? I don't know why this keeps changing. The NinjaTrader trade ID. So this is the trade ID imported directly from NinjaTrader. All right. So I do this every day. And here is my equity curve for the 2025 so far. Not great. It's a nice equity curve, but the markets have been extremely choppy and range bound and sideways for the last couple of months. So what I do here is go to my home tab. I'm running a 69.14 win rate. And I'm running a profit factor of 2.53, which means for every dollar I risk, I'm making 2.5 times. So $2.53 for every dollar I'm risking. Now, I can show you here in my chart lab, I can show you my performance by day. This only goes back 180 days, so it's pretty much this year. We have lots of nice winning days and very small losing days. But more important, what I want to show you, and this is what I mean by, if you go back here and we look at, let's say, March, forever. We have days that we don't trade. We have March, we did 1, 2, 3, 4 days we didn't trade in March. You know, what did we do in March? I don't even remember. I don't know if we had a good March or a bad March. In March, we did $9,403, right? But more important, not more important, but if we look at February, look how many, we had 3 days in a row. We didn't have any setups. If we don't have setups, we don't take trades. So look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 20 days, 25% of the trading days we didn't trade. So what did we do in February? We did $10,865. So what's the point of this? What am I trying to get at? You don't have to trade every day to make money, right? If the markets are choppy and sideways, the money flow tracker will keep you out of the market. Okay, so let's keep going. All right. So the markets consist of many small retail traders represented by these marbles, plus one or more large institutional trader. Well, since we know that 98% most retail traders lose money, why would you want to trade with retail traders? I want to trade with the guy, institutional trader. I want to trade along with them because they are the ones that move the market. You know, Market makers call retail traders the guppies. Why? Because they feed off of them and they make their money off of them. And that's why they say most retail traders lose money. So the money flow tracker has 3 key metrics that determine money flow. The first one is triple screen assessment of correlative markets using our AI software. The next one is triple screen assessment of order flow. And the third is triple screen assessment of the LIQUIDITY for momentum. No, it's not, Nyleesh. It's not considered HFT. And yes, you can trade it on Apex or Bullnox. So what do I mean by triple screen analysis? Basically, 3 time frames in agreement. I like to keep things very simple and terminology very simple because I find that most people learn better when you do that. So we trade Uniranko, so we use range bars for our higher time frames. So triple screen assessment of order flow is the first powerful force that moves price. So I know that most people think when I talk about order flow, they're thinking about these order flow candles with all these numbers on the right, inside, on the left inside, on the outside, and the bottom, all over the place, right? There's no way that you can make heads or tails of all these numbers and still make good trading decisions. Your brain can't handle all this data at one time, especially if the markets are moving fast. So we came up with our own order flow candles that make things so much easier. So what this is showing you is if you have a green outline of the candle, means that the delta of the candle is positive, and a red outline means the delta of the candle is negative. So to keep terminology simple, and this is the way I think about it while I'm trading, if I'm going long, I only want to see green outline candles. Why? Because I know that there's more buyers and sellers in these candles. And if I'm short, I only want to see red outline candles. And we have what we call our hybrid candles, which are the wicks inside Ranko bars. Nobody else has this. We use these wicks to our advantage. So what do I mean by triple screen analysis of order flow? Basically, we want to see order flow going in the same direction on 3 time frames. And I put a screenshot of our charts in here just to show you how clean and easy they are to interpret. All our indicators are represented by these colored line charts on the bottom, so you don't have to well, it's getting close to being over. No, it doesn't work that way with us. If you take a trade, you want to see everything green below you. All right? So triple screen assessment of momentum is the second powerful force that moves price, because if you have order flow and you have no momentum, then the markets aren't going to move. And also, like I just said, the hybrid candles. So again, triple screen assessment of is 3 time frames going in the same direction of the LIQUIDITY. And the wicks inside the candles. So how do we know when momentum is using the wicks? Well, when you have a wick that opens from the previous candle's close, goes up the bar size, and the following candle opens from the previous bar close, right? And then you have one that has a wick inside. Well, we use these wicks to our advantage, and I will explain how we do that a little bit further in the webinar. So the modified LIQUIDITY, what is it? We took all these indicators, we added our own algorithm to them, and we developed the modified LIQUIDITY. So the modified LIQUIDITY is an algorithm, but it's not like other oscillators. It shows strength of trend. So this indicator is represented by the bottom line chart. Okay, so when this crosses below 20, it will turn red. When it crosses above and is sloping up, it will be lime green. When it crosses over 80, it will turn dark green. And if it crosses below and sloping down, it will be orange. So ultimately, we want to see this pinned at 100 or pinned at 0, so we get our acceleration dots. So we know we have momentum. The next thing is our quant lines. Our quant lines use our AI engine, and that is the most powerful force that moves price. So what do the quant lines do? The quant lines are examining 28 market components and are examined by our AI system for correlation. Now, most people understand, most traders understand what correlation is. It's not a big secret or anything like that. It's just like the word says, correlative markets. same markets in agreement. So let's say you have ES going up and you're in a trade on ES, right? Wouldn't it be better to see NQ, YM, and RTY all going up at the same time? That will help your trade. But let's say you're short ES and NQ, YM, and RTY are going up. What do you think is going to happen to ES? ES is either going to turn around and follow the rest of the market, or it's going to go sideways. But you know the old saying, a rising tide floats all boats. Well, it's kind of the same way in the market. If you have correlative markets moving in the same direction, that's very powerful. And I don't understand why most people don't pay much attention to that. And we decided that I had a meeting and I talked with the programmer and I said, you know what? I think that 3 timeframes in agreement is really not enough to give us high probability setups. So we came up with the C2 indicator, we call it. And that just adds another time frame. That's all it does. So for example, if you're trading a 2-minute chart, everything's in multiples of 3. So the highest time frame is 18. So 3 times 18 would be your C2 setting. So the C2 is represented on the chart by this stair-stepping looking line. Green for longs, dark red for shorts. So let's put it all together. It's super simple. I've coached thousands of traders over the years. So the money flow tracker system, here are the rules and here are the setups. First rule, you have to have 3 time frames in agreement. The colored background, either green or dark pink. The second rule is you have to have the C2 because we want 4 frames in agreement. The third thing is we have a solid line and a dot dash line. The solid line we call the trend line, the dot dash line we call our 15, right? It's not a regular 15 period moving average, it's our 15 period. It's got some smoothing factors and some other calculations in it. So going up, you always want to see it on top of the dot dash line, and going down, you want to see it on the bottom. Basically, you want to see it hug the candles. All right. The next rule is if you run into a pivot, support and resistance, the VWAP, whatever it is, higher time frame support and resistance, you must wait for 3/4 of the body to clear the pivot and then wait for a pullback candle. And I'll explain why we wait for the pullback candle and don't just jump in. The fifth rule is both quants. The top one is a short term, the bottom one is a long term. Must be in agreement. The multiple time frame Laguerre must be in agreement with the quants. And the modified Laguerre must be pinned at 100 or 0 so we get the acceleration dots. So here's this trade. This trade was 63 ticks. That's $630 per contract because it's on CL. All right, any questions so far? Any more questions? Yeah. The reason why you could trade this with Bullnox or Apex or any of them, because it's not a fully, let me see how you say. What was I talking about? 1 second. Let's see. Because it's not I'll explain that when we get into the Revolutions Auto Trader. All right. So this is what really attracted me to the money flow tracker, is that it keeps you out of non-trending markets. And those are the markets that where most traders lose money. So I get tons of traders that come into the room that subscribe to the money flow tracker software, new traders, right? And I hear the same stories over and over and over again. You know, David, I make money one day, have a really good day on, let's say, Tuesday. And then Wednesday, I give most of it back. And then Thursday, I give the rest of it back. And then but the bottom line, at the end of the week, I'm not either making a little bit of money or lost some money or nothing. So I worked all week for nothing. So I tell everybody, and this is the way I trade, it's okay not to trade every day. There's no reason to trade every day. If the market conditions are not there, don't try to trade it, because all you're doing is trading along with retail traders and you become the guppy. So you can see here's a trade on CL. The market was coming down. It broke this pivot. This was a good pullback candle, but it happened so fast I couldn't even get and push the button to get in the trade. Then I got a couple candles later, I got a better pullback. So as it's pulling back, I placed my order. 10 ticks is the first target, that's $100. 55 ticks was the second contract, that's $550. That's a $650 trade, and wasn't even in it a minute. We started at, let's say, 9:37, and we were out at 9:30, maybe a minute, 9:38. Right? Where can you make $650 in less than a minute? So the money flow tracker software gives you clear and exact entries. It gives you clear and exact exits. And all your targets are pre-configured. You get all your ATMs. So I'm going to teach you how I trade breakouts with the money flow tracker software. I call it the pull back and go strategy. We call it PB&G for short, pull back and go. So let me grab my pen over here real quick. Here's my pen. Here's mine. All right. So you got a pivot here, and the shaded area is higher time frame support. So we broke it. We get the pullback candle. Now, as this candle is pulling back halfway or more, I'm placing my order to sell on down close. Right there. So what happens if the market's coming down, coming down, coming down? You get the pullback, right? And what happens if the market goes like that? Not a very good arrow. It's hard to draw with the map, right? Let's say the market goes like that. So why do we wait for the pullback? Because if this market pulls back, right, and this candle closes up, this order will get automatically canceled. So the reason why we do this is because, first of all, it keeps us out of a lot of liquidity grabs, also known as stop runs. It keeps us out of that. So when markets break support and resistance, they often come back and retest them. So we like to wait for that pullback candle because, and this happens a lot on MNQ, that the market shoots down, right? Pulls back and then keeps going, like goes the other way. And it happens all the time. And we don't want to get caught in these trades. So yeah, sometimes we miss a trade because we don't get a pullback, but we far outweigh sidestepping losing trades than we do missing one or two winning trades once in a while. So here's some examples. Here's a trade on RTY, broke the pivot, got the pullback, placed the order, first profit target, second profit target. Here's another one on crude oil. Here's two of them on the Canadian dollar, right? So, you know, it works very well, right? And not every trade is a winning trade. And if anybody ever tells you that you're going to win on every trade, I would say don't walk, run the other way. So let's talk about one of my favorite subjects, is the money flow tracker order trading strategy called the revolutions. We call it Revo for short. So what does it do? Well, it took this trade here for 704 ticks. It took this trade here for 665 ticks. It took this trade here for 1,016 ticks. So what does it do? People ask me all the time. So I'm going to pull up. Oh, I can't pull up the strategy because I'm running something on NinjaTrader. So I can pull up the strategy window here. All right. I really hate to shut this thing off. It's been going. Anyways, So what are the rules? The rules are we want the bias in the C2, the colored background in the C2. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and cut. I don't know what's going on with this thing. It should have been done by now. I can't even open my NinjaTrader. Frozen. Anyways, so we want the Laguerre. I have mine set at red or green, not orange. The multiple time frame Laguerre would be set red, green, or orange. Let me see if I can pull up something here in Ninja. I can't even do. I usually have my NinjaTrader running, but I'm optimizing something in the background and it won't do anything. We want the trend, the MA diff. I'll explain to you what the MA diff is. We want the we want to have the targets. So this is not set right for this particular. That's why I needed to have my strategy window open. So on the MNQ swing trade, we have this set to 81, right? Why 81? Because our first profit target is 80 ticks, but it has to go to 81 to get the fill. And if, let's say, I'm going to grab my pen here again. Let's say you have resistance. Oh, I can't read it. I can't draw with mouse. Okay, so I'm trying to go slow. Let's say you have resistance here and the market's coming up and it's coming up. And let's say you have a setup right here. But from here to here, right, you only have 70 ticks, let's say. 70 ticks. Well, it's not going to take the trade. It's going to wait for 3/4 of the body to clear the pivot. And then I have mine set as a 1 bar delay because I want to see the whole body clear the pivot. I just don't want to see the 3/4. I want to see the whole body of the candle. And we use very large bar sizes on this. So it will take the trade after it clears the pivot or the VWAP or whatever obstruction is in the way. All right. It has built-in money management. We have lots of traders that set it up where they have their profit target for the day is 1,000 and their stop loss for the day is 500. So let's say they're in a trade and they're up 1,500. It's not going to close the trade at 1,000. But once it closes the trade, it won't trade anymore for the day. Let's say you're down 500. It's going to close the trade when you're down 500. All right. So it has a lot of really cool features. I apologize I wasn't able to get my NinjaTrader working right now, but it is what it is. So here's the equity curve on it for 2021. Here's the equity curve on it for 2022. I lost all my data for 2023, so I have 2024. So this is what it did last year. And this is from Edgewonk. It did $44,000 last year just trading the Revo MNQ swing trade algo order trader, same thing. All right, so that's pretty good, you know. And we have lots of traders that still have jobs, and what they do is they turn it on in the morning, and they either are going to come home with either a winning day, a small losing day, or maybe it didn't take any trades that day. All right, so let me go ahead and pull up a video that I took on, let me see, I feel so out of sorts because I'm used to having my NinjaTrader running. Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is a trade that I took, and I set the recording, and I wanted to record it because I felt like this is going to be one of those really big monster trades. So we got our first profit target and the stop goes to break even. And I almost got stopped out. I was getting a little nervous there. And if I did, I did. You know what? It's not a big deal. I made 80 bucks, you know, and I didn't do anything. But I'm going to fast forward this. So you can see the market's going up. I'm up 195 ticks. Now, if you look in the top left-hand corner, you have what they call MA diff is at 212. Now, on this particular strategy, we don't trade above 350, right? So when it starts getting, so let me explain to you what it is. The MA diff is how far away from the 50, what is the distance between here and here? Where is price in reference to the 50? Well, when it gets too far away, the market, we expect a pullback within the next bar or two or three. So it's our way, and it's a better way of telling whether the market is overbought or oversold. And I've been trading this system for the last 4.5 years, and sometimes I'm just amazed that when the MA diff gets to the certain number, we get that pullback within a couple bars. So here we go. Let's keep going. I'm going to go faster. Now I'm up 344. The MA diff is only 320. So it's starting to get a little high. So I'm starting to move my stop and trail it. So now I'm up 444 ticks. Now the MA diff is getting higher. So I'm moving my stop closer. Now it's at 412. Now it's really high, and I'm expecting a pullback candle. I'm up 503 ticks. Right? I'm up 570 ticks. And I'm out at 570 ticks. So I trade 4 micros, take 2 off at 80 ticks, that's $80 because it's 50 cents a tick on the micros, and took the other 2 off at $570. That's 570 ticks, 570 ticks and 80 ticks. There's $650 on this trade, and all I did was turn it on in the morning and let it take the trade. Pretty cool, huh? That's why I like it. I like the auto trader. All right. So let's keep going. All right. So how to pass the evaluations. Passing the evaluations has nothing to do with your strategy. Nothing to do with your. Okay. You know what? I think I can, and I really wanted to show you guys this, and now I can show it to you before we get into how to pass the evaluations, because I think this is very important to be able to explain this to you on the auto trader. I don't like showing a screenshot. I mean, this is the way I usually do it. So it's called the Revo, and STR means strategy. So I'm going to load my template. I'll just load this one. All right. So what are we looking for? What were the rules we just went over? We want the bias in the C2. Now I just explained is I have mine delayed by 1 bar because I want the whole bar to clear the pivot or whatever. We want the Laguerre, red or green. We want the modified Laguerre, multiple time frame Laguerre, red or green. These are the moving averages. I want them in agreement. The MA diff is based off the trend line. The MA diff number is 350. We want the quants, red or green. We want it to clear the pivots. We want it to clear the volume zones, which are the higher time frame support. And we want to have the quant signals in agreement. So remember, his first target is 81 ticks. Right? Stop spinning. Why are you spinning? Sometimes NinjaTrader is really a pain in the butt. Where did that go? Strategy. Where did it go? I just had it up. Oh, here it is. Hello. I don't know what happened to it. It went away. And now I can't reopen it. All right, sorry about that. All right, let's keep moving on. How to pass the evaluation. Has nothing to do with your strategy. All right? It has everything to do with what's in between your ears. So I have 2 friends of mine. One guy is a floor trader. He's a floor trader, and the other guy works for a brokerage firm. So my friend John, he's the floor trader. And I talk to him all, a couple times a week. And I asked him a while ago, I said, what do you guys do? I said, do you really? So he started explaining to me. He says to me, he says, focus on your process. I said, what do you mean, focus on my process? He says, don't focus on your results. Don't focus on the carrot. So I say, don't focus on the carrot. Why? He says, if you focus, he said, you know that professional traders are only 40% win rate, number one. He says, and they manage their risk. They never focus on how much money they want to make. So when somebody comes to me and says, you know, I want to make $1,000 a day, I said, well, okay, that's what you want. That's what you want. I can't, you know, I tell them, if you want to do that, you need to focus on your risk. If you focus on your risk and you focus on trading well, which what that means is you focus on following your rules, following your trade plan, take your setups when they show. You know, when in the trade room, I tell everybody that I use this analogy. It's like a lion in a field, and they see another animal that they want to stalk, right? So what do? They just sit patiently and they wait, and they inch closer and they inch closer and they wait for that perfect opportunity. Well, that's what we do. We sit and we watch the charts and we have a setup. We take the trade. We don't pick and choose, because what happens to people that pick and choose, they always pick the losing trades and the winning trades go bye-bye. So that's what I mean by focus on trading well. Focus on your setups. The profits will take care of themselves. You know, the challenges or evaluations or whatever they're called in your particular firm is, they're really designed to make you fail because of the parameters they put in place. You know, how many trading days to pass is not that big of a deal, but the trailing drawdown, you know, it's like a casino in Las Vegas. You know, it's a 50-50 thing. Let's say you play roulette and you put a chip on black and you put a chip on red. You have a 50-50 shot. But the casino has a couple of points advantage to you, and that's why they make so much money. You know, the trailing drawdowns are not really that big compared to what profits they want you to make. So, you know, this is what I tell everybody. Just focus on what you're doing. Don't worry about the profits. It's amazing how it works. So this is my process when I trade. So let's say you buy a 50K account from Apex, right? I don't trade with Apex anymore, but you're not trading a 50K account, all right? You're trading your drawdown. So you're basically trading a $2,500 account. So my process is I don't risk any more than 10% of my drawdown on any one trade. And why? Because my win rate versus reward. So I am in between 2-to-1 and 3-to-1, right? So if you're a 1-to-1 trader, means you have to be 60% win rate to be a profitable trader. But if you're a 2-to-1 trader, that percentage drops drastically, right? Means that you could win 40% of your trades, which most professional traders are only 40% win rate, which means you could lose 6 out of 10 trades. As long as you're at a 2-to-1 risk reward, you could make money. Now, when you're 3-to-1, it drops drastically. All right. You could lose 7 out of 10 trades and still be profitable. So does that make sense to everybody? Okay. You know, and you know, I don't worry about this myself because I'm almost a 70% win rate. So I don't concern myself with that. So rather than avoid risk, take intelligent risk, and this will give you a competitive edge. Just like this little mouse. I named him Rory. I named him Rory. Rory the mouse. Now he wants this piece of cheese, but he's assessed his risk. He says, you know what? If I push down on this a little hard, this thing could snap over on my head. So what did he do? He put on his hard helmet. So if he does get hit in the head, it's not going to hurt that bad. So that's intelligent risk. Alrighty? So I've showed you everything that I could show you. And if you're making money and you're a consistent trader, then God bless you and keep on your current path and doing what you're doing. But for most of you from the poll that I took, take action today. Join us. You won't. I said Rory, not Roy. And work with us. We trade from 9 to 11. We only trade 2 hours a day. You could work from home. You have no boss, and you have total financial freedom. So the money flow tracker system gives you clean, easy to learn workspaces. It's perfect for beginners. I really like coaching beginning traders because they don't have bad habits, right? You can trade any account size. I have traders that just trade a few micros every day and they're happy with that. And then I have some traders that I have one guy that trades anywhere from 50 to 150 contracts on a trade. And you can trade this with futures, Forex, stocks. You can trade options using the stocks signals. All right. So for the first 10 traders that come aboard, we have some powerful additional software as a quick action bonus. So the first thing you'll get is our market scanner, which is a $9.99 value. Basically, we use Renko bars, so mine is set up on Renko bars and the markets that I trade. So for instance, let's say on Apple, you're a day trader. So you may be looking at a 5-minute. So when this lines up with a buy, you just go look at the chart. Doesn't mean that you have an entry. It means go look at the chart. So this is a $9.99 value, you'll get this. Now this is a strategy that we use to enter trades. It's called the NDT. This is a $14.99 value, you'll get this as part of your package. You get the Masterclass series on futures, Forex, stocks, and options. They're very good. I've watched them. You'll get 1 free month in my trade room. Now, our trade rooms were a part of a study done by this Dr. Victor Allen. And in his study, he reviewed more than 225 trading websites and evaluated them using several factors, including transparency, proven track record, and assisting traders with educational materials and online support. And we came out on top. And this was published in Traders World and Stock and Commodities magazine. And we're very proud of that. So this is a special offer we're doing. We're doing a 50% off sale across the board on all our subscriptions, except the one-time payment. It's also 50%. It's not a subscription. So normally our quarterly is $11.94. Now it's $5.97. Our annually is $23.94. Now it's $11.97. And our lifetime was $39.94. Now it's $19.97. All right. This is a great deal. If you do an annual, you're paying less than $100 a month. So how many of you lost $100 this month? Come on, don't be shy. I could say I did too, I mean, I'm still making money this month, but okay. So here's my commitment to everybody that subscribes. Is when you subscribe to the Money Flow Tracker software is to help you become a successful trader. Now, I'm not sitting there with you pushing the button. A lot of people in the room follow my trades, but I'm not sitting there with you, right? It's to help you become a successful trader. Remember, if you're not successful, it's not your fault. Again, if you're not successful, it's not your fault. You're just not using the right tools to be successful. It's like trying to pound a nail into a piece of wood with a screwdriver. Well, if you sit there long enough and hit it, you'll probably get it in there. But if you use the hammer, which is the right tool, that you'll hit a couple of shots with the hammer and it's in. The Money Flow Tracker software is totally unique and will give you that edge to trade with institutional order flow. So again, my commitment to you is to teach you not just about how to read the setups. The setups is the easiest part of trading. When we get a setup, it's either a qualified setup or it's not. There's no gray area. But to help you develop that mental mindset you must have to achieve financial independence and become a successful trader. You know, trading is a lot like, let me say, I want to use the right words. Trading is very mentally challenging, and people's emotions get involved with it. And what I try to do is teach my traders that to try to keep your emotions out of it. Yes, Larry, this is being recorded and you will get a recording sending out to you in an email. Is to keep your emotions out of it. You know, if you take a trade and it's a qualified setup and it just didn't work, you know, oh well, that's trading, okay? But for the most part, most of our setups that we take do work. You know, as long as we're not trading in choppy and sideways markets, because those markets will not give you setups. And if you do get a setup, it's going to be at the end of the move, because it takes time for 4 time frames to change from a bottom of a range to a top of a range. So, you know, when you get from the bottom of the range, by the time it changes, the MA diff is going to be too high. So the software does a great job to keep you out of the market when the markets are not trending. So let me go back here. So if you go to your chat part window in your GoToWebinar control panel, there is a link there. Okay, and this link opens up the money flow tracker page. So all you need to do is scroll down here and pick if you want to do a quarterly, annually, or do a lifetime. Why is this showing this? So anyways, let's say you want to do a yearly. And 1 second. You want to do a yearly. So you go ahead and click on it. You don't have to apply any coupons. Scroll down here, you're going to get the money flow tracker system. You're going to get everything installed by Charles. Okay. Okay. You'll get the Revolutions Auto Trader. You'll get the NDT execution platform. You get the masterclass, and you get the prop room for 1 month. And it was $23.94, $11.97, right? Is your discount 50% off? You're paying $11.97. And next year, when you subscribe, renew, you'll pay the same price as you paid this year. So we're going to keep it the same. And that's all you have to do. And we'll contact you. You'll set up an appointment with Charles. Charles will take over your computer, install everything for you, and you'll be ready to go. And I'll coach you in the room. All right? Okay. So if you have any other questions and you would like to speak with us before you subscribe or purchase, hold on a second. If you put your name and your phone number in the questions box, Roy will give you a call after the webinar and you can ask him as many questions as you want. If you want to do your purchase over the phone, he'll take care of that for you. The institutional money flow uses the data and prints it on our footprint charts, our order flow charts. Okay. If you go ahead and put that in there, and we'll give you a call after the webinar. You can ask as many questions as you'd like. Okay. So look, it's a well-known fact that 95 to 98% of day traders and swing traders are losing money. Right? This is a retail trader. He might as well just flush his money down the toilet. My friend Steve that works for a brokerage firm, He tells me, he says they love it when a trader opens up a $10,000 or $5,000 trading account. I said, what do you mean? You love it? I said, because we know that money is going to be gone within the next couple of weeks. We're going to eat it up. There are the guppies. I said, really? He says, yeah. He says, honestly, that's what we call it, retail traders, but not our traders. Why? Because when the retail trader is losing money, somebody else has to be taking it. There has to be a buyer and seller. So who do you think's taking the money from the retail trader? The institutional trader. That's why we trade with institutional money flow. That's why we trade with it. Okay? Again, quarterly is 597. Annually is 1197. Lifetime is 1997. Right? We're doing 50% off. This is pretty big for us. We don't normally do 50% off. So basically, if you do an annual, you're paying less than $100 a month. Okay. So this is a reel of a bunch of our traders that gave us testimonials that have been trading with the money flow tracker. This particular woman wanted to learn how to trade. Her friend, she has a friend of hers is in my trade room, and she asked him to teach her how to trade. And so he didn't want to teach her how to trade, right? So he had her contact Mark at Rightline. So what Mark did was he took her under his wing. He sat her down in front of the computer, taught her the setups, said, when you have all these things lined up and you have a green background, I wanted you to click on buy on up close. And when you have a dark pink background and you have everything set up, I want you to click on sell on up. Right? She did that for 4 months straight. Well, to make a long story short, this was about 2 years ago, maybe a little longer. Make a long story, now she's a 6-figure trader. So I spoke to her on the phone one time and I asked her, I said, do you trade every day? And this is the way she answered me. She goes, no, Mr. David, if I don't have no setup, I no take no trade. And that's it. And I said, great, because that's exactly what we do in the trading room. And it's okay not to trade every day. I don't know why traders think that. I think I know why. You know, I come from a business background and you want to feel like you're productive every day. Well, you know what? When you sit in front of your screen, and even if you you don't get any trades that day, you're productive because you're doing your job, and that's what your job is to show up every day. If you don't show up, you can't take trades. Okay. This was an email sent to Rightline from a guy that sent me a message in the questions box. And hold on a second, Rory's sending me a message. So Rory's saying to me, he says, I want you to congratulate Tim, Celia, Terry, Bob, and Larry all made their purchases, and I want to welcome you all to the Money Flow Tracker software, and I look forward to working with you in the trade room. Okay, so anyways, let me get back to this. So he wrote in the questions box, he says, I am the world's worst trader. I've been at this for a long time. I can't seem to be consistent. I really like what you're seeing. I like you. I think you sound like an honest person or whatever. So he said, asked me if he subscribes, will I help him? So I said, absolutely. So he writes here, watching David's stream every morning, I learned his trading methodology and more important, his rules for trading. We only take trades on specific setups and we follow the rules. We have around a 70% trade rate, win rate. I now have 7 accounts at Apex and 7 accounts at Buellnox. Well, now he has 20 accounts. I know he has 20 accounts at Apex, 10 accounts at Buellnox, few accounts at a couple other firms, right? Then he goes on to write, the Money Flow Tracker software, along with David's methodology and rules of trading, allow me to act like a robot and eliminate any guesswork or emotions from my trading. We use an entry tool called the NDT, which allows a single push button to enter a trade when we see the correct setup. So following the rules every day, it's simple. If I see a setup, I push the button. If I see a setup, I push the button. And if I see a setup, I push the button. So about 3 weeks ago, he sends me this message in the questions box in the room. He says, I'm up $4,265, only trading 4 accounts today, can ring the bell, and he left the room. And that's the way to do it. When you're up, ring the bell, shut down your charts, and go do something else. Alrighty, so this is our promotion. This is how you're getting 50% discounts across the board. I think I'm pretty much done. And like I said, and Rory just sent me a message again. He says, anybody that puts their name and their phone number in the questions box, I will guarantee them to get all the extra bonuses, including everything. As he's going to go over to 10 people. If he does, we don't care. We want everybody to participate, and we want to see traders making money. We want to see traders have consistency that they've been looking for. Let me tell you a story. I was a very inconsistent trader for a very long time. And I saw the webinar. I was in a webinar that Mark Sachs did. And actually, I saw about 3 of his webinars on the same webinar before I made my purchase. I was ready to purchase on the first one, but I said, you know what? I kind of want to make sure I got this whole thing down. So I made my purchase, and that was over 4.5 years ago. Last year, if you look, I'm going to show you something here really quick on EdgeWonk. I think I closed it, but I can open it up really quick. Let me show you what we did last year, really quick, because we have a little time, little bit of time. All right, so look, this is what we did last year. We did $121,124. We were at a 75% win rate with a profit factor of 3.40, almost 3.5 to 1. And look at some of these, and this is how I prove to people that we don't trade every day. Right? So let me see, what was that day we had the hurricanes? Oh, here we go. Look, I live in Central Florida, just north of Disney World. Look how many days we didn't trade in October. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 20 days we didn't trade. So why didn't I trade 9th, 10th, and 11th? This was Hurricane Helene coming up the Florida West Coast. I didn't want to take any trades those 3 days. I didn't even turn my computer on or trade because I didn't want to have a power outage or whatever. So I skipped those 3 days trading. Then the next week, lucky us, we had Hurricane Milton come across the state, right across above us. So I didn't trade on Thursday and Friday. So 8 trading days in October. You know what I did in October? $11,511 with 8 trading days, and I didn't even trade 8 days. Almost half the month. Out of 20 days, I didn't trade 8 of them. And I still did 11,500. Why? Because I take my setups when they're there, and if the markets are choppy, I don't take setups. Now, each day in that month wasn't related to a storm, all right? It wasn't related to a storm each day, just these 3 days. But we didn't trade this day, we didn't trade this day, we didn't trade this. But look at the days that we did trade. We did very well. Why? Because the markets were trending. So this is what I mean by not trading when the markets aren't choppy, period. All right, so we're just about an hour. Do we have to push the button, or is this an automated trading system? When you're trading with the money flow tracker, it's push the button, all right, with the regular charts. The Revolutions strategy, we only trade that on MNQ, and we use a very large bar size. And the reason why we do that is because with a large bar size, you're never going to get in a trade if the markets are choppy or range bound. The large bar size gets us in the trade. It must be in a good trend for it to get us in a trade. I've tested it, and we're testing it on some other markets on shorter times. I've been testing this for the last few weeks, looking okay. you know, but I love order traders. Okay, I like order traders. Yes, Larry, not waiting for a signal can be very boring. So does it have alerts? All right. So what I did was on the C2 indicator, the stair-stepping line, we have alerts on that. So since we don't trade without it, when I get an alert, it'll just say, like, if I'm trading NQ, it'll say NQ C2, NQ C2. I go look at the NQ chart, see if I have a setup. If I don't have a setup, I watch it. That's the alerts that we use. We trade only with the C2, so when we have a C2, we know that pretty much everything should be lined up. Does that answer your question? All righty. All right, well, we're done. If you put your name and your phone number in the questions box, we'll give you a call after the webinar. You will get a recording of this, so if you want to watch it again, you're more than welcome. But this is a great opportunity. This is a great deal, right? So this is how I end my webinars, and I usually say this is, you know, is that if you're going to be, and this is most pit traders' problems. I'm going to share something. Trader buys a system. They trade with it. They start out doing pretty well, right? Now they're making a few dollars. They're doing well and go, oh, this is my system. I love this system. This is a great system, right? And then all of a sudden they hit a losing streak. Oh, this system sucks. Throw it out. Let's go look for the new one, right? I did that. Believe me, I did that. I spent a small fortune on trading. But, okay. So when I decided to go with the money flow tracker software, I said to myself, if you're going to do this, you're going to be 110%, 110%, what's the word I'm looking for? Committed to this system and only this system. So if you're going to do it with, like I did. This is the last thing I'm going to buy. This is the last system I'm going to use. I prove to you that it works. I prove to you that we don't trade in choppy markets, which that's where most traders lose money. And this was 4.5 years ago. I've been trading with it ever since, and I haven't spent another dime on anything trading. Nothing. Not another dime. So if you're going to subscribe, I want you to be 110% committed. All right? Just say to yourself, if I subscribe, I'm going to focus on this, and I'm going to give myself at least 6 months. First of all, I can teach people how to trade with this software in a couple of days. All right? It's not that hard. It's very easy to trade with the software, and it's very clear. And that's the thing that I love about it, is that it's very clear. If you don't have a setup, you don't have a setup. There's no iffies or whatever. So it's very clear. So do yourself a favor. If you're going to subscribe, if you're going to purchase a software system, a methodology or whatever. Now this is based on mathematics also. Be committed to it, right? Don't just say, you know, maybe the first couple of trades I lost, right? Well, okay, but just don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Get my drift? I want everybody to be successful. Why? Because I struggled for a long time myself, and I know how it feels. I was on the other side of the screen for a long time, you know, but for the last 4.5 years, I am one of the world's most relaxed traders when I'm trading, because I know that the software works, and I know that I get very high probability trades. But the thing that I love about it the most is it keeps me out of the market when the markets are not conducive to our type of trading. So I'm going to end it with that. I want to thank everybody for attending, and I look forward to working with everybody in the trade room. And the people that already signed up, I want to thank you very much. And I'll do everything I can to help you achieve what you want to achieve out of trading. So have a great night, morning, afternoon, depending on where you are, and take care. Bye-bye.